Very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, India's process of urbanization has just begun, and we will see a lot of urbanization in the coming decades. By 2050, we will see over another 400 to 500 million Indians getting into the process of urbanization. And therefore, it's very important that India does very sustainable urbanization. And mobility is a very integral part of urbanization. Actually, sustainable cities are grown on the back of good mobility. And therefore, whatever we do in the future, because if you look at America, there are already 950 cars per thousand people. In Europe, there are already 880 cars per thousand people. In India, we just have about 28 cars per thousand people. So as we go on creating more wealth and we do more urbanization, it's very important that we don't make our cities for cars, but we make cities for the people. And therefore, it's necessary that whatever mobility we do, it must be built on a sustainable model. And therefore, it is necessary that we push for disruption in area of mobility. India is a very big importer of oil. For mobility, all our oil is imported, and therefore it puts a huge drainage on our exchequer. And it is therefore necessary that India takes the leadership position in the endeavor of moving towards electric mobility. Considering the scale and size of the Indian market, where more than 25 million vehicles are sold annually at present, the need for battery storage for the electric vehicles of the future is enormous. As you are all aware, India is deeply committed to the INDC targets of Paris Pact to reduce its 35% of its CO2 emissions from 2005 levels by 2030. And for this, India has set up a target of having 175 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2022 and 450 gigawatt by 2030. And this requires, to our mind, battery storage at grid size for completing with our renewable power generation and grid stabilization purpose. Battery storage at grid side is critical, but battery storage would also help us to reduce our oil imports of 112 billion, and India imports 85% of its total oil consumption, and therefore this is very critical. In NITI Aayog, we have the National Mission on Transformative Mobility and Battery Storage, which is leading India's battery storage revolution. India is committed to the idea of Make in India for battery storage solution. And this gets reflected in the current import duty structure, where raw materials have an import duty of 0% and battery cells have 5% import duty. But our objective is that actually battery cells should also be manufactured in India in due course. It's also important to understand that while India may not have lithium, nickel, and cobalt, India may not have that, this in the value chain actually comprises only about 19% of the entire value. And therefore, the rest of the value component of manufacturing should be done here. Even if we import lithium, nickel, and cobalt, it does not matter. The rest of the pack and cells manufacturing adds a lot of value. And let me also tell you that lithium, nickel, and cobalt is actually available across the world. And I would also say that there are new battery technologies are currently under development and include solid state lithium batteries, lithium air batteries, sodium ion batteries, and silicon based batteries. And solid state polymer electrolytes are compatible with a wide range of chemistries, ranging from inexpensive manganese dioxide to research in these areas, and there's large scale research and development actually taking place. So you will see a massive amount of disruption taking place, and my view is that in the next 5 to 6 years you will see a movement away from lithium uh, batteries, and you will see a huge amount of disruption all across the world taking place into newer areas of growth. Now, Ministry of Environment and Forest has already issued the draft Battery Waste Management Rules 2020, which allows for the scientific disposal of all kinds of batteries. As per our projections with Rocky Mountain Institute, with cumulative demand for battery storage till 2030 would be about 820 gigawatt hour in conservative scenario and 1212 gigawatt hour in base scenario. Nearly 50% of this demand would be for electric vehicles, besides demand for stationary storage, that is for electric purposes, and consumer electronics. But once you have battery, you can also ensure that chulas in rural areas also driven by batteries. Therefore, the challenge is, how can India be a global leader in battery storage? And our view is that India has immense potential to be a battery leader of the world. It can, as I said, add up to 81% of value of batteries. Except a few raw materials, all other technology for battery manufacturing is already present in India. For procurement of lithium, India has already signed a joint ventures with Bolivia and Argentina. An immense focus on R&D needs to be there. This would help develop battery technology which is best suited for Indian conditions of temperature and humidity. Battery technology is changing fast, and across the world, actually companies are innovating to reduce percentages of lithium and cobalt in the battery. Even in the most prevalent battery chemistry of today, that is nickel, manganese and cobalt, the percentage of cobalt, which was earlier 33%, has been reduced to just 10% because of innovation and research. It is also critical to ascertain and develop battery chemistry best suited for India. Is it lithium ion? Is it solid state? Private sector R&D has to provide answers to these critical questions. I have joined this conference today because it is being driven by a startup, and I believe in encouraging startups who will drive disruption in this area. Quite often, India gets into sunset areas of industries, and therefore it becomes very difficult to penetrate markets. But this is a sunrise area of growth, and therefore electric mobility and storage really hold the key to our sustainable growth and our future. And only with sustainability can India grow, and therefore electric mobility, shared mobility, connected mobility, and my view is that India up to 2040 can emerge as a leader in both shared, connected and zero emission world. And startups will make all the difference. So we had requested state governments, and many state governments have taken lead from Kerala to Delhi. They are all supporting electric movement, electric vehicles, but they're also supporting large-scale manufacturing of batteries through various incentives like tax breaks and subsidies. And this is helping invoke a spirit of competitive federalism among states. Central government is also planning a comprehensive framework to support large gigafactory scale battery cell manufacturing in India. Our view is that we will be able to develop, bring in large scale investment in India through this framework. We are at an advanced stage of interministerial consultation, and this would help us to drive storage of the future, both for electric mobility, grid, and for consumer electronics. So ladies and gentlemen, my view is that there'll be huge disruption, there'll be new areas of growth, there's a huge business opportunity in newer and newer technologies. There's a huge opportunity in battery swapping. We have recently come out with an order which differentiates between battery and the vehicle. There's a huge business opportunity in terms of mobility in terms of storage for power, for consumer goods, massive, massive opportunities because disruption will take place in a very big way. And therefore, I encourage all of you to participate in this unique endeavor and ensure that India becomes a global leader, both in the world of battery storage and in the world of mobility. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.